In a small town blanketed in snow, Christmas Eve quietly arrived. Children climbed into bed early, their hearts brimming with excitement and anticipation, dreaming of the joy that gifts would bring. Every house in the town was adorned with twinkling lights, candles glowing on windowsills, and snowmen of all shapes and sizes standing proudly in front yards. The entire town felt as though it had been touched by magic. At the edge of the town stood a little wooden cottage, home to a 9-year-old girl named Ellie. She lived a simple life with her parents. Outside the cottage was a vast snowy field stretching to the edge of the forest. Ellie loved winter, but Christmas Eve was her favorite time of all. Every year, she left a cup of hot cocoa and a plate of homemade cookies by the fireplace, hoping to offer Santa a warm treat. This year, Ellie felt more excited than ever. She spent the entire afternoon decorating a small pine tree she had found. She carefully hung paper stars she had folded herself and clay ornaments she had shaped with her own hands. At the very top, she placed her most treasured golden star, a gift from her grandmother last year. Though her little tree wasn't as grand as the others in town, Ellie thought it was the most special tree in the world. As the night grew deeper, the moon rose high in the sky, casting a soft silver glow over the snow-covered world. Everything felt peaceful and mysterious. Ellie climbed into bed early, but her imagination kept wandering to Santa's sleigh flying across the starry sky. She tried to close her eyes, reminding herself that Santa only came when children were asleep, but her excitement made it impossible to drift off. Just past midnight, Ellie heard the faint sound of jingling bells outside her cottage. Her eyes flew open, and she saw only darkness, except for the moonlight reflecting off the snowy ground. Holding her breath, she listened closely and heard soft thud sounds, as though something had landed in the snow. Ellie quietly got out of bed, wrapped herself in a coat, and tiptoed to the window. Through the frosty glass, she saw an incredible sight. Right in front of her home, a sleigh was parked in the snow. Surrounding it were several tall reindeer, their noses and bells twinkling in the moonlight. The sleigh was piled high with colorful gift-wrapped packages, each tied with elegant ribbons. Beside the sleigh stood an old man in a long red coat and a fluffy hat. His round figure looked jolly, but his movements were quick and precise. Ellie watched as he carefully lifted a large bundle from the sleigh and placed it on the ground. Then, he turned toward the door of her cottage. Ellie's heart pounded with excitement. She saw the man take decorations from the bundle and begin adorning her home. He strung colorful lights along the porch, and when they lit up, the whole yard glowed warmly. Next, he pulled out evergreen branches and bright red berries, crafting a simple yet beautiful wreath that he hung on the front door. Finally, he built a small snowman in the yard, adding a red scarf to complete it. When he stepped back to admire his work, the old man clapped his hands together, looking pleased. He returned to the sleigh and retrieved a small package, which he gently placed by Ellie's door. Then, he patted one of the reindeer on its head. The reindeer wagged its tail and let out a soft grunt, as if urging him to move along. The man stood beside his sleigh and glanced up at the moon, as though checking the time. Then, with a graceful step, he climbed onto the sleigh. The reindeer lifted their heads and began to trot across the snow. Suddenly, they leapt into the air, and the sleigh rose smoothly into the sky, disappearing into the swirling snowflakes. Ellie stared in awe, her heart filled with joy and wonder. She slowly opened the door and stepped outside, feeling the chilly night air on her cheeks. On the ground, the small package bore her name. Inside, she found a soft, cozy blanket and a delicate glass globe. The globe held a miniature Christmas village, its tiny lights glowing warmly, as if the village itself was alive and smiling at her. That night, Ellie returned to bed, hugging her gifts tightly and feeling a warmth in her heart she'd never felt before. She didn't know why Santa had chosen to decorate her home so beautifully, but she felt like the luckiest child in the world. On that magical Christmas Eve, Sally knew that miracles and joy lived quietly in every warm and loving heart.